Hey up everyone, Magpie Gaming here. I hope you're all doing well. So I've just watched a podcast that has been broadcast today. This is New Year's Eve, by the way. I should get the video up today, so you'll already know that. But anyway, so Nikita joined the podcast and gave some information on what will be happening with the game going forward next year. There's a fair bit to go through, but I'll try and squeeze it in and make it as quick as possible. He talked about a lot of subjects. He spoke in English and then he spoke in Russian, so that both sides of it was getting the information. So it was quite a long one, but I sat all the way through it and there was some great information in there. So to start off, he says that Streets of Tarkov is still well in development and is on course to be released with patch 0.13. Didn't give any hints as to when that would be, but I would assume that it's going to be one of the largest patches that has ever been applied to the game, so I don't think we'll be getting it anytime soon. We'll just have to wait and see. It seems as though it's going to be the kind of patch that would be accompanied with a wipe, and we have just had a wipe. So in my opinion, we may be looking at 5 to 6 months time before this is released, but I could be entirely wrong. They may release it earlier than that and it might not wipe. That is all just sort of speculation at the moment, so don't quote me on that right now. He says that with the introduction of Streets of Tarkov, they will be introducing a helicopter extract. This will be added to other maps too. It won't just be exclusive to Streets of Tarkov. It will be added to other maps. Not entirely sure how that will work, but it's good. I want to see more dynamic extracts put in. I love the train extract on Reserve, for example, and I'd like to see more extracts like that added into the game, so we will get a helicopter one at some point. There is going to be new storyline quests that will be in conjunction with Streets of Tarkov as well, so it will bring about a new line of quests to be added to the game, so I'm interested to see what those will be, that they will all be centered around Streets of Tarkov. He spoke about accessing labs from Streets of Tarkov, and he says that's still in the early phases, but basically once Streets of Tarkov is released, eventually you will only be able to access labs by going into Streets of Tarkov first. You will find a certain area that will allow you access, so it'll be a raid within a raid, and they're also looking at adding labs access to the factory map as well, so you would go into factory and then eventually into the labs map. He also talks about all of the maps eventually being stitched together to create one seamless map, although there still seems to be a lot of things unknown about this and how it will work and when they will eventually do it. It's been spoken about quite a lot in the past that they want to create just one huge map where you're able to traverse from one area to the next. I'm not really sure how that is going to work out, how many people you would get on the server infrastructure you would need to make that work. I'm not sure how that one's going to happen, but they still talk about it, so it must be something that is on the cards for some point in the future. Also, with the introduction of Streets of Tarkov and the patch that comes along in, they will be introducing weapon jamming and weapon overheating. This is something that they've spoken about for quite a while, so obviously if you was to burst out 60 rounds out of an M4, it is going to heat up and possibly overheat to the point where you wouldn't be able to shoot again straight off. Weapon jamming is something that does happen in real life, and I think this will be in conjunction with actually having to service your weapon. If you use a weapon over and over for multiple raids, if you're lucky enough to live and keep the same weapon over and over, you can obviously repair it. There is a menu to do that right now, but it doesn't really have any effect on the gun overall. But I think that will come into conjunction with that, and you will repair and basically have to maintain your weapons if you keep them and use them over and over. It will also introduce customizable rigs at the same time, so they're looking at rigs where you'll be able to add pockets onto them. It's also the plate carriers as well, as far as I know, where you'll be able to add different plates in to customize all of those good things as well. VOIP will be added to the game in 2021. Nikita never really likes talking about it. He always sort of grimaces at the talk of VOIP being added, but it says it will be added, but again they will look at whether it breaks the immersion of the game, whether it's actually beneficial to the game. If it isn't, then he says they will remove it from the game. But I do know he spoke in previous podcasts where he said that there will be a lot of testing to be done with that, so we'll see where things go with that one. He says that the next boss that will be added to the game will be added on the factory map, and he also says that Streets of Tarkov will feature a few different bosses. It won't just support one boss, it will support it, by the sounds of it, at least 2 or maybe 3 bosses altogether. Probably not in the same raid instance, but it will have different bosses on it. Now the thing that gets me is that factory is a very small location. To put put a boss on there, plus all of the PMCs and the scavs. It's going to be a very populated map, so I do wonder if Factory is going to be the next map that will have some sort of expansion. I'm guessing that when they've added the boss, it could be expanded. I'm not too sure, but I know that there are plans to make a lot of expansions to some of the maps, so it makes me wonder if Factory is going to be the next one that will get this overhaul when the boss is added, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Nikita says that the terminal location will be in production soon, and they're looking at this as to be the final map for the game, and he spoke about how you would enter this map with nothing on you. You won't be able to enter it with any kind of loadout, you won't even have a knife. You will enter this location naked and have to fight your way through it, and he says that if you manage to extract from this map, that will be classed as escaping from Tarkov, and when you do this, you will get either an emblem next to your name, or your name will have a different colour in the lobby, so that people can see that you've actually completed that map and you've basically completed the game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that actually looks like, but it sounds like it is way off right now and not something that will be done anytime soon. Nikita spoke about the release of the game. He says the release isn't close right now. There's still a lot of aspects of the game that need to be done, but they're going to try and get the most of these aspects done this year so that he can then give a firm release date for the game. So the game isn't going to have a final release in 2021. It looks like it might be 2022. We'll have to wait and see. But he says the graphics will be completely overhauled in the game, and they will start to look at creating the console version of the game as well. So there's still quite a lot of development left in the game to go, and it's obviously not releasing anytime soon, but they do want to try and reach the point where they can give a rough date to when they will release. He spoke about the arena as well, which we all assumed would be something that would be added into the game and would be something that you would be able to access through the main game. That is not going to be the case. Nikita has said that arena will be a separate game that you will need to buy. He says that loadouts that you have in your game, you will be able to move those over into arena though and be able to use them there, and resources and money that you make in arena you will be able to transfer back into Escape from Tarkov. All seems a little bit jumbled with this at the moment, and the information wasn't too clear, but he says they are going to form a separate dev team to work on this, and production will start in 2021, and he says that he wants to make this arena a lot more fun than what Escape from Tarkov is right now. He says that Escape from Tarkov is meant to be grindy, it's meant to be hard, whereas arena will be a little bit more light-hearted and probably aimed at a more mass market appeal than what Escape from Tarkov is right now. I mean, Escape from Tarkov is a hardcore niche game. It looks as though they want to pitch arena to more casual players. And he also speaks about the main game eventually having two accounts. One account will wipe with seasonal events and things like that, and one account won't wipe. The information about that was a little bit hard to gain from the podcast, because he kept switching between talking English and talking Russian and was talking about these separate accounts, etc. So I didn't really understand what he was trying to get at. But he says that wipes are something which will continue in the game. They need to, but they also want to try and have a separate account where there will never be a wipe. So whether you'll share resources between the two or not, I don't know. I can't see how that would work out. But the ideas that Nikita has for the game going forward are quite vast, and there are a lot of them. There's clearly a lot coming in 2021. There's a lot that they want to achieve. Seems like 2020 has been a pretty quiet year for them. Yes, they've had some major patches come out, and those patches have been good and been smooth, but obviously with coronavirus and the fact that they've had to do remote working, they haven't been able to do as much as what they wanted to do. That's the kind of feeling I get from listening to Nikita in the podcast. But yeah, a lot is coming in the coming months. When will Streets of Tarkov release? We just don't know. There really isn't any idea of when it will release. Like I said, in my opinion, it sounds like it's going to be a huge patch. It's going to be massive. I would expect it to be followed by a wipe, but then I wouldn't expect this patch to release anytime soon. Predominantly wipes are every 5 to 6 months. So looking at that view, we would be looking at this releasing sometime in May or June. Could be a lot earlier than that. I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there's a lot happening in the game. There's a lot coming in 2021. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stay safe, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.